So, hey there. Guess what, people? I am super excited because here's what happened is after the conversation I had with Lucy, the conversation continued between us and we decided that hey, let's just invite you let's just invite you in to really give you the opportunity to get to know us a little better as we actually are connecting a little more with each other. So this is like the show after the show.
It is the show after the show.
You get backstage access to who we really are and how we show up in the world, what we really think, what really matters to us, and how life isn't necessarily perfect.
Yes, and we're not perfect.
So, okay, so we were talking about so many different things, and one of the things we realized is that we were both teen moms.
Yes, we were. And my daughter's actually 18 now, going on 19, starting college pretty soon in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, that was tough. It was really hard for me. I was in college at the time. My very first year, I found out that I was going to become a mom. And here I was embarking in this new journey of going to college, and it was scary. But I was one of the lucky ones. I had a lot of support from my family. My grandmother was there. My mother was there. So I took a whole semester off. I remember this, and I remember being really intentional about what I wanted to do. I said, I'm going to graduate with my class on time. My graduation date was going to be 2001, May 2001, and I was determined to make that happen. So I took one semester off, had the baby, went through I stayed with her for a couple of months, and then went back the following semester, made up my classes in the summer, and I graduated, crossed that stage with my class. And that is the power of determination. And you don't know how strong you are until you have to do something, So that's my story with that one.
That's really interesting because, okay, so I was a teenage mom. I won't say how old my daughter is, only because she's grown and
Yeah.
realized. So it's going to seem like I'm sidetracking, but I'm not. It's going to make sense in a minute. I realized that when people ask you, oh, how old are your kids? That they typically think you're going to say, oh, they're 9, 12, and 13.
Yes.
But when they're older, I realize that she's a woman now and she gets to decide when she wants to share her age and with whom.
Yes.
And so it's not my place to share that. And the way I learned that is I think it was at a funeral actually, and we were at a repast. And I ran into someone who I know of, but don't really know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who really, I don't even know if they ever met her before or just knew of her existence because it was like 25 years ago or something. And they approached her when I introduced her as my daughter. They said, oh, how old are you now? And she says, I'm grown.
Oh, wow.
And it was in that moment that I was reminded that it felt inappropriate and intrusive.
Wow, that's amazing.
A stranger to just say, oh, how old are you now? And they don't really know her.
Oh, yeah.
So now I'm mindful of that and don't share her age for that reason. Just
nice. I love it.
it.
That's going to be my comeback next time somebody asks me how old I am. I'm grown. That's all you need to know.
I'm grown, and she's very grown. She's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I never refer to her as my mistake. She is an unexpected blessing.
Yes, a gift.
Absolutely cannot imagine life without her.
No. And I say that too about my daughter, is that she made me even more determined to make things happen. I was even more determined because now I had even more reasons, and two, to be a great example to her, to be the best version of myself that I could possibly be, because they're watching us. They're watching everything we're doing, and they're learning, they're picking up on things. So I'm always aware of that. So I want to be the best that I can be for them, a great reflection for them. So
Absolutely. I remember for a long time I didn't talk about the fact that I was a teen mom
hmm
because I was personally ashamed because I actually am not.
yeah,
Um, but because I didn't know how people would interpret my story.
same
I
here.
didn't want anyone to think that I was promoting teen pregnancy.
Yes,
So I would
yes,
only mention it if I heard someone saying negative things about someone, to say, well, what do you expect? Her mother was only 15 when she had her, or things
yes.
like that, or she doesn't look at a baby having a baby. Like all of these comments, it was in those moments that I would speak up and defend the mom,
hmm
that, speak life into their situation.
Yeah, exactly. Give them a chance.
Right. And this is when they need you most. Not They don't need you to shame them or any
No,
things.
no. They need encouragement, obviously.
Right. A pregnant teen does not need you to wear them down about having sex because they know how they got pregnant.
Yeah, they're well aware of it.
Right. But we don't need to have that part of the conversation.
No.
It's like, okay, you're here now. Where can we go from here? And
Yep.
so it wasn't until I was asked to be a part of an anthology. It's a book called Millionaire Moms, and every author in there was a teen mom. And we talk about
Wow.
the odds in that being a teen mom is not a death sentence.
No, it's not.
So it was in that moment when I agreed to talk about it more openly and said, okay, it's time.
hmm hmm
Yeah.
And it's funny you say that because I always feel strange about sharing that aspect of myself as well, because it's like, okay, I've reached so many levels of success, whatever that means. It means different things to different people, but I've been able to accomplish a lot of things. And for me to come out and say, I was a teenage mom and I've been able to do these things, I didn't want it to translate as, okay, it's okay for you to go out, have children out of whatever, being too young, and you'll make it, you'll still be okay. I didn't want that to be the message, so I always kind of like kept that aspect of who I am out of whatever it is that I was doing. But I've realized that now that is part of my journey, it's part of my story, and I have to share it. I have to share it, because if I don't share it, if we don't share it, then we're not being honest with ourselves, and in turn we're not being honest with other people. So,
Absolutely, because you mentioned earlier when we were talking for the interview about it being bigger than you, like your purpose is
yes.
bigger than you, and even those sides of our story is bigger than us. And
hmm
so when we let our egos be involved and we want
yes.
to, because of what people may think of us,
Yeah.
we are also blocking or taking ourselves away from the opportunity to
Well,
serve.
you're blocking someone else's blessing.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. Like anytime I start internalizing and letting the ego, as you said, get involved, it's not okay, because you're blocking blessing someone else's life. That one message that you could have had that day when you show up at an event or give a speech or whatever, someone is there listening, and someone needs to hear that particular thing that you're saying.
Mhm.
So always be mindful of that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing we were talking about was things in terms of relationships, our with ourselves, our relationship with men in our lives, our relationships with our children, and the many different ways that people may look at it or the things they may assume about us.
Well, I've never been married. I am a grown woman, and I haven't been married once yet. And for a time, for a period, I always had this pressure on top. I've had questions like, this assumption like, what is wrong with you? Why aren't you married yet? And it's, yeah, the whole pressure. You reach a certain age and you're supposed to be married. The thing about me is that marriage, I don't take it lightly. Marriage is forever for me. Marriage is something that I want to do one time in this lifetime. So I've always been very aware of that. And so I've taken my time. And just like with being single, when you're single, you know, people ask you, why are you single? I'm single because I take relationships serious. When I decide to be in a relationship with someone, it's a serious thing. You have my complete attention and commitment. So that's, you know, so that's another pressure, like the whole marriage thing, you know, grown lady with children, never been married, but it's okay. It's not my time yet. I know it's coming. I invite it when the time is right, and definitely when the connection is real. And that's what I'm waiting for.
Well, I wasn't married until I got married when I was almost 40.
See, I'm not even 40 yet. So it's like, people, give me a chance here.
And the reason, and I heard, I know you probably heard me say I hate that, and I don't hate that often. But here's the thing: I don't like it when society puts certain restrictions or pressure
Pressure.
on us. I remember, so like that question you said, like, why are you single? As if there's something wrong with you because
Right. Right.
it's
But
like,
that's the underlining assumption, right? There
right,
has to be something wrong with you because you're not with anyone. That
right.
cannot be the furthest thing from the truth.
I had someone tell me that I was going to be an old maid.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's fine.
Somebody that looks like you will never be alone. Let's just
I'm
be
like,
clear.
okay, that's fine. It's like I've never been short on interest,
Yeah,
right?
I don't think you'll ever have that issue.
That's not a problem. If I want to
No.
be with someone, I can.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I need to be obligated to get married right away because society says I should by a certain age.
But you know, that creates, divorce rates are obviously skyrocketing right now. But it's all fear based, you know, it's all these illusions and these pressures that we have on us that make us make mistakes, like make us make decisions that we wouldn't otherwise make. There's family pressure, you know, let's not even go there with that. You know what I mean? What is wrong? Like, you know, when are you going to get married? What's going on here? Do you know how many times I hear that? And it's just like, I'll send you an invitation to my wedding when it's happening. I promise you that you'll know about it. So, yeah.
You do the same thing with having kids. Like I remember saying that I didn't want to have any more children. That I was good. I was complete.
Yeah.
And someone said, "Well, what if you meet a guy who wants children?" I said,
Right.
"Well, he needs to find someone else."
Right.
I'm
Right.
okay
Right.
with him having children.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't plan to start again and from scratch. And it's like children are human beings. They're not puppies.
They're not.
And I get it for all you puppy lovers out there. I know some of you think your dogs are human, and that's okay.
I mean, that's okay. It's
But
whatever
I'm
you
just saying
want.
it's still a responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was very clear about the fact that I wasn't interested in starting over in that
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt really annoyed when someone was trying to tell me that I should. And then this one is the funny one, but not ha funny. But the
Yeah.
fact that somebody thinks this way, when they said, because my daughter was a teenager at the time, I think she was about 13 or 14. Well, if you have a child now, you don't have to worry about it because your daughter can babysit. And I said,
That's not her job.
not. I am not having a child for my child to raise.
I've heard that a lot too. Like, I have little ones and I have teenagers, and it's always like, oh yeah, you're lucky. You have your oldest ones can babysit. And it's really unfortunate because it's not their responsibility. Like, I know a lot of people who grew up like that. They essentially become their siblings' parents, right? So, and that's a responsibility that a child or a teenager or kid shouldn't have. And I dislike that as well. I don't like that.
Right, and I get
No.
that for some people, that's what they have to do based on their
Right.
situation. But
I mean, certain situations call for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not going to choose into it and have a child specifically for
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's funny.
It
So
is. It is. This whole relationship thing is very interesting. I'm still learning. I feel like it's an ongoing learning process with relationships. And I decided to write another book around this whole thing about love and understanding it, because I feel like love is something that we can't ever get a clear grasp on. You know, it's not this one thing and we figure it out and it's just, let's just run off into the sunset and be happy. I know you're married, so what would you like, how would you define love if you would? Now I'm interviewing you. Sorry, I can't help it.
Oh, you would put that pressure on me, right? I define love. Well, I don't know how I define love is, to be honest with you. I'm trying to find one word, one phrase to
You
really.
know what word comes to mind just to help propel you somewhere? I hope this helps. But it's like free, freedom, freedom. Like when I think about love, right? I think about feeling free. Like there's no pressure from that person, from the situation. It's just, it's the most incredible feeling when it's felt right and it's expressed the right way with someone. It's just an incredible feeling. And I always think about freedom when I think about love.
So you know what? I'm gonna go with that. Thank you for that nudge, right? Because it is, in a sense, it's the freedom to be vulnerable.
It's the freedom to be who
Freedom to
you
take
are.
risk. It requires risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, it it I'll just say, for example, with my husband, I had to do my own personal work. Like we talked about healing through journaling and all those things, but I had to do my own personal work for me to even be able to receive love that my husband was willing to offer me.
Absolutely.
I wasn't used to it in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so it took me time to be able to be open to trusting that that love was coming, and it was detached.
Yes.
Attached
No attachments. Yep.
Right. There was no attachment at all
Nope.
to me being obligated to do anything other than to receive it and
Yep.
reciprocate by loving him back.
I don't have to be this person or do this thing to be worthy of it. You know what I mean? And that's when I started to understand what love really meant. You know, I always thought I had to be this certain way. I had to be the perfect cook, the perfect woman all the time, the perfect mother, like all these definitions of what it means to be worthy. And it's not any of those things. You know, love is just showing up as who you are and attracting that love that's suitable for you. And like you said, doing that work is everything, because you can't create space for that person for you if you're not working on yourself like that. And I've also noticed that the more I'm working on myself, the more I'm able to open myself up to receiving that kind of love that I've just been dreaming of. And it's a great day because I can finally say, you know what, I know what that feeling feels like now because I've done the work, and I'm attracting that person that's also done the work.
And with that, I'm going to add another word: acceptance.
Yeah, huge.
And so love is acceptance, accepting who that person is and them accepting who you are. We come with our own set of our own stories and our own separate histories.
Yes,
So
yes.
we're not going to come into the space the same. We're going to come with some differences. There are going to be some things that align, and then there's going to be some yin and yang.
Yeah, that you'll have to work together through, right?
Yeah. And being open to accepting what has happened, learning how to know what to leave back there.
The baggage.
Yeah. Learning how to leave yours in the past, leave theirs in the past, and meet each other where you are. But then also learning how to embrace the portions of the past that help to shape them into who they are.
Absolutely. Because they wouldn't be that person without having gone through that, whatever it is that they've gone through. And I'm grateful for the things that I've gone through, be good or bad, like, especially the bad things, because I feel like that's what propelled me to become the woman that I've become and continue to become. Without those adversities, I wouldn't have discovered my strength. I wouldn't have discovered compassion for myself and other human beings. Understanding, I wouldn't be as understanding as I am. I wouldn't be less judgmental. I would probably be super judgmental if I hadn't gone through half of the things that I've gone through. Like, judgment it's not even a thing for me anymore, ever, So that's what that is.
It's interesting that you should say that, because I too, like, there are things that I didn't talk about before that I felt ashamed of, felt
Yeah.
guilt, all those different things. But when I hear of other people going through it, I have a different level of compassion for it,
Mm-hmm.
because I know what it's like to be there. So my
Mm-hmm.
empathy shows up differently
It does.
for them, as opposed to condemning them or
Yep.
judging them.
Judging them.
And that's from making some financial choices that weren't necessarily in my best interest,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
even making dating choices that
Yes. Yeah. I can definitely relate to that. Both of those, actually.
yeah. So I haven't always had clear boundaries in my relationships with money or my relationship with men, but that's because I didn't have clear boundaries in my relationship with myself.
With yourself. That's where it starts.
Right. But I learned it through those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And I also learned it through watching other people too. Now, I'm a firm believer.
Definitely.
There is every single thing to learn from it.
Yes.
You and say, note to self.
Note to self. Yeah. And I mean, I'm surrounded by so many people that are married in relationships, and the things that they share are like, well, let me see how I can do this thing differently. They're going through this. Well, let me see how I can not go through this or avoid going through certain things, So I'm always listening, always taking notes. And like you said, learning from other people's experiences is key. It's
Absolutely.
definitely key. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
sometimes I'm watching. I'm more of
Mm-hmm.
an observer than someone may think I am. And
Yes, when I get quiet, you know where I'm at. Like, I can talk for hours, but when I'm sitting somewhere very still and quiet, I'm taking mental notes. I'm not just sitting there ever. So, yes, I completely get that.
absolutely. And so I think about some of my choices, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I've learned about me. Sometimes I don't know what I want until I don't get it.
Yeah.
You know how you
Yeah.
ask somebody, well, what do you want? And they'll tell you what they don't want.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'm not even aware, like not fully aware of what it is I don't want until I get the opposite of it. And then it's like,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
it is. Now I know.
Yep.
So yeah. So for example, let's see. I'm thinking about a relationship example. I have plenty. I'm just trying to figure out which one to go for.
The best one. Pick the best one, the juiciest one.
What is the best one? What is the best one? So I can think about, even in terms of time, because
Yeah.
I enjoy my time alone.
Yes.
I thought it didn't matter to me if someone wasn't always making me
The
their
priority.
priority.
Yeah.
I thought I was cool with that
Mm-hmm.
until it didn't happen. And then I
Yeah.
realized that no, I actually do want that, but I want the room to be able to have my quiet, my me time
Yes.
too. And I'm okay with you having yours, but I do
Yes.
want to know that I am a priority in your life.
That's so key and important.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you can do your thing, I can do my thing. I definitely want to be with a person that is about doing their own thing, and then we come together and just unite and just create amazing things together also. But there's also a time where I need to know that that person is there with me and for me. Very important. There's a difference. There's a difference between somebody being out there and just doing their thing and allowing you to do your thing, and not even acknowledging you half of the time. And then, but there's on the flip side of that, you know, that person is there with you always. They're checking in, or they're creating space for you, giving you emotional support, or they're making you a priority to fit into their world somehow. And you have to know the difference. You really do. And I can't be without that. I've realized that. And like you said, when you see that it's not there, you become to understand that, wow, I guess this is important for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's very important for me. So we have to know.
Back to the things that I tolerated, right?
Yes.
Even when I think about security and
Mm-hmm.
when I dated a guy once who it didn't dawn on me until I was in it that they weren't comfortable and secure with themselves, and
Yeah.
I attracted them because that was one of my moments when my self-esteem was low.
It was love, yeah.
Period. Right.
You had work to do, and that's why.
What shift happened that got me there, but I tolerated things I wouldn't normally tolerate in that particular relationship. And so it would even be things like compliments. So I didn't necessarily get compliments from him to say, "Oh, your hair looks nice," when I get a new haircut or something.
Oh, you're beautiful.
Nice, you're beautiful. This is how I knew that he felt like I looked good. He would say things like, "Oh, so you really think you're cute with that new hair?"
Wow, that should never be the reaction from someone who's with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it would be something like, "Oh, so you making sure you looking hot when you're going out with your girls," right?
He was very insecure.
Oh, this is your way of saying that I look good, but you're not comfortable with this.
Yeah.
And so that was when it was during that period that I realized that I wanted to be with someone who was confident
in
themselves enough to be okay with me having my moments.
You know what I like to say to that?
Longer than I ever imagined that I would have.
Yeah. I was going to say, I never trust anyone who's not confident in themselves. It makes me uncomfortable. Because you don't know what they're going to do with that insecurity. And that's a very uneasy feeling for me, and I don't like it. So to be with someone, and I've been in that situation too. I've dated a guy who was very insecure, and in turn, he made me feel like I was inadequate or I wasn't good enough to be with him. And it was just like all these crazy things. And it just, after I left the relationship, I looked back and I'm like, wasn't that a trip? Like, you know, the projections that people put on you. And if you don't get a grip on it, if you don't realize what's going on, you can get lost in that cycle. It's crazy. So yeah, I don't trust people who aren't confident in who they are.
And I'm with you on that now. Like once I came to my senses,
we all do sometimes.
Came back home to me.
Yes.
Really looking at things, no, this is not what I want. This is not what I want. This is not what I want.
Yeah.
And so it's time to roll. And so when I made the decision to end that relationship, I was in a place where I was ready to be in. I was ready to end it. We had our breakups, get back together, breakup.
Yeah, breakup, yeah.
Call your girlfriend like, oh, we broke up, you know, that thing. And then 2 days later, you're back together.
Yep.
And I was done. And that was a cycle I had with all of my relationships. When I was done, I was done. But that one, the thing that's interesting about what you said about being uncomfortable is what I didn't predict from this particular individual was for them to lash out in the way that they did when I did finally say it was done. And so it did turn into me having to go and get a restraining order.
Yeah.
All of those different things that I never imagined myself having to go.
But don't you see why it's a really uncomfortable feeling? Because you don't know how they're going to react. You just don't know. Even they don't know, because that kind of energy, whatever it is, it's not a healthy one at all. It's very irrational. So you never know. That's why I just don't trust it. I try to stay away from it if I could avoid it. With any relationship, whether it be a woman to woman relationship, that's another one too. So no.
Yeah, because it does happen in our platonic relationships, whether it's same gender or even with the opposite gender. If it's someone
Absolutely.
who's insecure about themselves, it's one of those moments when you do want to be mindful and make a decision on whether it's a relationship worth investing in.
Yep,
Mhm.
absolutely. So definitely get that.
So, what's one of yours?
Absolutely.
What's something you learned from one of your relationships?
The many things I've learned is to never, this is one of my big things because I'm such a free spirit. I just do whatever makes me happy, and that's just how I like to live my life. Don't ever allow someone to define you,
Yeah.
no matter what it is. Like, and I think that was a pattern for me for a long time, is allowing my relationships to define who I am. Like, if I wasn't a certain way, they would try to like mold me and fit me into this box that I just cannot be boxed in. None of us should be boxed in. And the thing is, if you're making a choice to be with me, you have to want to be with me completely. This is who I am. I never hid who I was. I wasn't trying to be someone else. But they wanted me to be. Oh, you're not good enough of a cook, or, you could be a better parent. You could be a better mother, or a good mom doesn't do that, what you're doing. And it's just like this constant thing. And it's like, after a while, I'm just like, I cannot be anybody else. This is who I am. This is who I'm comfortable with being, who I am, And that's the biggest lesson for me in relationships, and the patterns that I've severed, is that just never being with anyone who wants to change me. I can't be changed. I'm too free.
I feel you. I'm like that in all areas of my life, though. Which
Yeah.
the word freedom resonates with me so deeply. I really change if I feel like my sense of freedom is compromised.
Yes, I don't like that.
Yeah, something happens in me that is a side that people really don't want to see.
Yeah. It's
Um,
like a flower. Like, it can't grow. Like, if a flower can't grow in a certain environment, like I like to say, it's not the flower, it's the environment. You remove it from that environment. And I consider myself this flower, right? If I'm not growing in an environment, or if it's not conducive to my growth, I'm going to remove myself from it. And that's just how I look at it, because I cannot, there's just this one life, this one chance that we're getting right now. And to be someone, not to be able to be who we are, is just, that's like death to me. It's not a good feeling.
Yet
So,
there's so many of us who aren't who we are,
yeah, yes.
right? Or aren't comfortable being who we are. We are constantly editing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
This, this, this
Digital world.
right. It's put so many pressures on us where there are many of us who feel like we need to edit who we are to
Yeah.
accommodate somebody else's comfort level,
Yes. Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And so here comes the plastic surgery, here comes all these other things. And I'm saying that, let me just be real clear about that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with plastic surgery. There's a
If that's what you choose to do, that is
right,
fine. I
but
don't.
when you're doing it, there is a challenge. The challenge for me is when you're only doing it because you don't feel like you're beautiful enough as you
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
or that you feel like you're so physically flawed
Yeah.
that the only way that you'll be accepted or loved is to change yourself.
Yeah.
That's when I encourage someone to go and really seek some assistance, some
Mm-hmm.
support in some area to help to work through that. And then
Yeah.
after that, you still want to, then that's different,
Yeah.
you know?
It is. And I agree with that. I mean, I respect everyone's choices, but like you said, if it's because you feel like you have, and also like you have to look like somebody else, or that, whatever the definition of beauty is, like it's so like distorted nowadays, because the definition of beauty is so fleeting, right? Like one day it's this thing, one day, oh, our hair. Like I remember when wearing my big hair was like it made me uncomfortable because it wasn't deemed beautiful. But I'm like, these are the locks in the hair that falls out of my head. How is this not beautiful, you know? But before, you know, it was like I had to straighten my hair. I had to look a certain way because those are the images that were constantly being bombarded with. Like, women, this is what you should look like. You should be this little size or whatever. But I have hips. I have an ass, so whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? Like, this is my body. But we're constantly being convinced otherwise. You know, these images that we're supposed to adhere to. But yeah,
like full lips were unacceptable.
yes,
Now full lips are in. Unacceptable now, but implants are in. You know, it just goes on and on. It's changing constantly.
It is changing.
And so it's just, when do you feel most comfortable in your own skin? That's what's beautiful.
Yeah, that is what's most beautiful.
You know, like, I like my hair when it's messiest.
Yeah,
it's neat. Then
I don't like it when it's, you know, that when you wash it. Yeah, right? Like when you get out the shower and it's just dense and it's just boring. I like it when it dries up and it just, the curls unravel however they will. That is when I feel the most beautiful in me, because that's me. And we have to be okay with who we are. And someone out there is falling in love with you, like the way that you look. And that's what we forget. We lose sight of, you know. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You're beautiful to someone. But most importantly, you're beautiful to you.
Because that beholder is within you.
It is. It really is.
And so being able to see ourselves, which I had to embrace. Like, my nose was something I had to embrace. I was the only one. Like, there are 8 of us, but I'm the only one with this nose. And so I didn't understand that. I wasn't sure how I felt about it. And that was the one thing that if I was going to change anything when I grew up, it was going to be my nose. But then I realized I didn't. It's my own unique feature.
Yes.
It's all to myself. I now embrace it, you know.
And other people embrace it too. But they have no choice at that point.
Because it made me stand out.
Yes.
You know, or like me saying I like my hair when it's messier, to someone else, they're like, would you please go comb your hair?
Right. Yes. It's unkept. Yes.
Right. And my thing is, okay, you go comb yours where you feel comfortable.
Right.
And you be free with mine.
Yes.
So we all have something that we kind of wish we didn't have, or wish we had
more of.
Something, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Be able to embrace it. So
yeah.
You couldn't have told me 40 years ago that I was going to love my nose. I would have looked at you like you
are crazy.
Like you had Skittles coming out your eyeballs or something.
Yes.
But no.
Yeah, we have to love everything about us, the imperfections. It's interesting because the imperfections that we think are imperfections is what makes us stand, like you said, stand out. It makes us unique. You know, like I have this beauty mark on my face. When I was growing up, I didn't like it because I'm like, why do I have this here and nobody else has it? Or it's a blemish, right? But this blemish, or what I think is a blemish, is actually, it gives me character. It makes me stand out from everyone else, you know? So just little things like that. I'm not always 100% happy with myself. I mean, I would lie if I said I was. Every day I wake up, I'm like, wow, I'm just a perfect woman and everything's intact. No. I mean, but it comes from a place where acceptance, you know, you have to come to a place where you accept yourself with everything and everything of who you are. So, yeah, acceptance.
So what's one of the things you love about yourself?
My personality, my heart, you know, that's some of the things that I love about myself. I think that my ability to connect with human beings, I mean, that's one thing that I value so much. And And I've done a lot of work on myself to get there. And it's something that I'm really proud of. What about you?
Actually, the same thing. I like my heart. I
Hmm.
love the fact that I have compassion and empathy.
Yes.
Um, I so much so that I'm considered a woo girl, and I think you and
Hmm. I
I.
know. We talk about that. Here she goes with that stuff now.
Yes, like she's so woo. And
Yeah.
there was a time when I wasn't sure how to embrace it
Yeah.
because to others it felt like you were too soft. It's not acceptable in the
Mhm.
corporate.
Or it's weird. It's
Yeah,
weird.
weird. You're all these different things, but I
Hmm.
actually love that about myself,
Hmm.
and I
Hmm.
realized that my strength comes from being in that place versus the other one. It felt like I was in a fight with myself,
Yeah.
like I
And
was
you should
fighting with
never be in a space like that.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a battlefield in your mind, and it's not a good feeling. And you know what I used to hear a lot, and I think I still hear it. Oh, you're so different.
Mhm.
And when I hear that phrase, it kind of almost dismantles me a little bit, because then I'm like, when you hear you're different, the energy behind that isn't necessarily a positive one. But I've learned to embrace and own that word so much now, that when people tell me I'm different, I want to tell them thank you. I've worked on being different. I actually was created this way because I'm able to create because I'm different. Like, I'm so grateful for it, because without being different, I couldn't be the creator that I am. I couldn't look at the world like it's like being a painter. Like, I consider myself, I'm definitely an artist. So the way that I look at the world differently,
Mhm.
and that's where my creation comes from. So thank you. I'm different. But it took me a while to like that word. I just never liked it. I'm like, I don't want to be different. I want to be like everyone else. But
Yeah. See, I've never been called different. I've just always felt different.
yeah,
And I've probably been called more weird, bougie, stuck up, not
bougie.
not black enough, all those different things.
Yes.
Like bougie to me means that I have standards. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
I'm not humble or open to things. But if I
Hmm.
want certain things a certain way, or if I am determined to to give respect and be respected,
Yeah.
all of those different things, then call me what you want, and that's a thank you moment for me.
Yeah, that is a thank you
Okay,
moment.
thank you, because that's a
Yeah.
compliment that I have standards and I think enough of myself that I don't want less for myself.
Yeah.
Um,
Agreed.
but I've learned to embrace it. And it's funny
Hmm.
that you use the word different because today that's what I wrote about.
Mm.
Um, and there was a quote that I used that says, hold on, I have these, I keep like cards around, and when I hear
What
something, I
quote? Yeah.
jot it down.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And so the quote was, I give you permission to be different from me and not lose my
Mm,
love.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm going to repeat that one. I
Yeah.
give you permission to be different from me and not lose my love. And
Hmm.
it's by Barnett Bain. I don't even know whether I was listening to a podcast or
Hmm.
whatever. I don't know where I found that and wrote it down.
That's a profound, very profound quote. There's so much in it.
Hmm.
So much in it, because our differences, like, it's almost like that connotation where, because you're different, then I'm not supposed to hang out with you, I'm not supposed to like you, we can't love each other because we're so different. Like, so many things, you're of another religion, another culture, another race, I'm not supposed to, we're not supposed to connect. And that makes everything okay. Like, our differences, like, I love you because you're different from me. You love me because I'm different from you. Like, it's just that's such a profound quote. I love it. I love it.
And yet, in the midst of those differences, we
Hmm.
also have some likenesses. And so
Yes,
we do have
exactly.
things that are in common. And if we take the time to be curious enough and
Hmm.
go on an exploration and learn more about those differences,
Yep.
we will also find our common ground as well.
Yes. And imagine if you never try, you would have missed out on a great connection with someone else.
Oh, I would have missed so many
Yeah.
wonderful relationships,
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
opportunities to broaden my own mind and see
Yeah.
the world differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't curious and willing and open. And so that's one of the other things I love about myself, that I'm
You're open.
open-minded,
Yeah,
yeah, and that I'm
absolutely.
curious. Like some people think I ask too many questions, but
There's
I'm
no such thing.
nosy. It's like it's a discovery phase for me.
It is. It's like a kid. A kid is always curious, right? So when we grow up, we're kind of like, it's like this thing we're supposed to shut down. You know, you can't be curious anymore. You can't ask questions. But I totally disagree with that, because I'm always going to be curious. I'm going to continue to be curious because that's part of life. Like the day I stop being curious, I stop living. And
Mhm,
that's how I see it, right?
mhm,
You stop learning, which is one of the major keys to life, is just constantly learning. And I believe that's why we're here, is just to learn and evolve. And that's pretty much, yeah. And I was also going to talk on the outer appearance, right? Like when someone looks different from us, we automatically fit them in some kind of box. Like, oh, when you brought up the part about being bougie, it's like this thing where when when you like nice things, or you put a lot of thought into your appearance, and you just like, I mean, for me, I love fashion. I love clothes. I enjoy putting stuff together. It's almost like creating art for me, literally, from my shoes to like the pants I choose to wear to the shirt or that necklace that you have on. It's just like it's drawing for me. So, but I think that when people have like this perception of people who do that, is that, oh, they're too into themselves, or they're not spiritually connected, or just all of these assumptions. And I hate when people make assumptions of others based on what they look like. And that is just so wrong. And it happens to me very often. And it's unfortunate because if you took the time to really get to know me as a person, you would be surprised on what you find. I mean, I don't know if you've had that experience or go through that whole thing, but it's definitely an unfortunate thing for me sometimes.
I have. It depends on what space I'm in.
Yeah.
Like I remember a guy that I became friends with, and we sort of dated for a while. I found out that he wouldn't approach me. He used to see me all the time, but he didn't approach me at first because he thought I was stuck up.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, the stuck up. Yeah.
he with a friend of his in the club, and he says, "Oh, she danced with him. She can't be stuck up." Right? Which is so silly, but
Yeah.
it was based on what I was wearing, the way I stood,
Yes.
I walked into a room, all of those different things, without having the opportunity, like giving me an opportunity
Yeah.
to get to know me or get to know him. And so it wasn't until that we got to get to know each other and hang out. And so people make assumptions all the time.
Yeah.
And not just our physical appearance. We do that with what someone's driving.
Yes.
We do that when we know what their zip code is,
Mm-hmm.
the neighborhood they live in, all these different things. We make assumptions about who they are based on that one thing. That's
Mm-hmm.
only one aspect. That's
Yeah.
only one thing about them. It doesn't define them.
It doesn't define them at all.
It doesn't at all.
No. Yeah, we definitely need to be more aware of that, just making assumptions about people. I try not to. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely try not to, because when I've done that, and then I always feel like a jerk after, when I start to really get to know that person. I'm like, wow, I really misjudged you. And I would have completely missed out on this amazing connection here. So just a little thing to keep in mind. So, yeah.
Yeah, one of the other things I was thinking about, because, working with women, or
Mm-hmm.
even like being on social media, is really interesting because you get
It
to see
is.
some of the different things, the ways that
Mm-hmm.
people speak, some real, some not.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it's interesting to see how committed some of us are to struggle.
Yeah, we are. We are.
Our
That's
accolades,
a good way to put it.
everything, we're more committed to our struggle than we are to our freedom. And so when
Yeah.
there's an opportunity to find a way out of something,
We get uncomfortable.
Right. Whether it's a relationship that we in with a significant other, whether it's a job, whether it's our parenting, we always have a reason to stay in the place that brings us, the place that depletes us and robs us of our joy.
Yeah.
We keep
Hmm.
choosing in to that club instead
Hmm.
of choosing out
Yeah.
and to at least take an opportunity to explore.
Explore
Like,
something
be
different.
curious.
Yeah.
Let's see what
Yeah.
it's like over there before we knock it.
Yes. I agree. And I think, like, don't you think a lot of it is like being in a victim mentality? And just, and I think that some of us are stuck there. Like, we're so used to being the victim and playing that role that anything outside of that is really uncomfortable. And just taking control, just being real with yourself, that stuff is scary. And I think that's what's happening. It's like, it's that courage to face yourself. It's courage.
But see,
So,
the other thing though, when I hear comfort, like, I keep hearing get out of your comfort zone,
yeah,
things like that. When I think of comfort, I think of cozy. I think of
yeah.
something that I want to stay and desire to stay in. Like
Right,
comfort,
exactly. That's true.
book with a throw, and I'm all
Oh, hot chocolate or something like,
being by the beach, journaling.
yeah, journaling. Yep.
That's comfort. You know,
That is so amazing that you said that.
places I don't want to leave, right? That
Right.
I need to pull myself away from. But we often use the word comfort when we're referring to somebody's uncomfortable.
Yeah, something that is not good for you.
There's like pain, there's struggle,
The struggle.
discontentment, is worry, is anxiety. It's
How is that
I'm
comfort?
exhausted just thinking about it. Like
It's wow, that's amazing how you said it like that. That
yes,
is
just
truly
because it's
amazing.
familiar doesn't mean it's comfortable.
Right. Let's just say familiar then. Let's just do away with this comfort thing because you're right. That is not snuggly type of warm feeling at all.
Mm.
So, yeah. You're
Comfort
just
is
afraid
yummy
of change.
and like, oh,
Yeah,
so
like
good.
love and being in love and just love, love, love.
Like, no, I don't want to leave. It feels
Yeah, right. Never want to leave. That's
right.
the feeling.
Yeah, but instead it's more like, no, I'm good. I know this. I'm familiar with this. I know how this happen. I'm gonna
Yeah, this is my poison and I'm good with this poison.
absolutely. I know just how much to drink to make sure I stay alive another day. I'm gonna just,
Yes, true.
that
I'm gonna numb myself of this, okay?
I have the exact dosage. I know how much
Yeah.
I take. I know where my breaking point is. So I'll just stay right
I
there.
got this covered. Don't worry about it. It's true. It's like insanity. It truly is. I don't get it. I don't get it. If something's making me uncomfortable, I'm leaving that situation. Like, I don't care what it is that I do after that point, but guarantee I will not be there. So, yeah,
Mhm.
no.
Yeah, like even from the job,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's I have a particular person in mind when I'm thinking about this,
Mhm.
and I mean it works for them. Okay. But because of that, I know not to go to them for advice if I'm thinking about leaving a situation.
No, they're gonna put fear in you so much that you'll never want to do anything.
Mm-mm.
No,
No, because
no.
that's what they know, and they want to keep me in the place that's familiar to them.
Hmm.
But I need something else. It's like my time is up here. My season has
Hmm.
come to an end.
And you
It's
have to know when the season is over, right? I feel like relationship, jobs, everything has a season to it. And your spirit moves you in directions that you need to go in, and you have to listen to that. And there's so many blessings that come out of you making a choice. Like, I've made a lot of like blind choices. I didn't know how I was going to get wherever I was going to get to, but I knew this season here is over and I have to make a move to the next season of my life. And it's worked out. I mean, it hasn't been easy, but it's worked out. Why? Because it's supposed to work out that way. Your
But
spirit
faith is
tells you.
not easy either.
Mm-mm.
And the thing is, here's the gift. You don't have to wonder what would happen if, because you
I
did.
never want that feeling. Like that feeling where you wake up one day, you're like, oh my gosh, what if I would have done that? You know, like you'll never know unless you try it. Like I'm good with trying it. I don't believe in failing, actually. I was going to use that word, but failure is not a vocabulary I like to use, because I feel like even when things don't work out the way that we wanted to, we learn so much from it. We take the lessons and we tried it and we got out of it what we were supposed to get out of it. So there's never failure. Failure is an illusion.
That's all
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But never trying and never knowing, that's like the worst feeling that there is. Like, what if I just connected with that person? You know, like that feeling, like that's the worst, never knowing what that would have been like. So, yeah, I make a lot of blind choices nowadays, and I love it.
I used to make more, and I'm going back to it. And that comes also with being able to trust your intuition.
Yes, trusting yourself.
To letting things unfold organically.
Yes, yes.
Having to have all the answers. So I'm actually in a space where I'm in this journey of rediscovering myself and reclaiming my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess let me just give you a little bit of context. So, for example, for the past 14 years, I've been living in fear and didn't realize it.
Yeah.
And so here's what I mean. So my mom was involved in a really bad accident that really just changed our whole family's life.
Yeah.
Right? It was life threatening, so there was a lot of healing that needed to take place.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of forgiveness work, a lot of anger, all of these things. Then my dad got sick. So I actually spent the last 14 years always in the back of my mind waiting for a phone call, waiting for the ship to come, waiting for these things. I don't want to travel too far, because if something happens and I'm too far away, I can't get home fast enough. Like all of these different things. But I wasn't totally aware of the fact that I was actually, that's living in fear.
That is living in
Constantly
fear.
waiting for something to happen. The call didn't come for 14 years.
Yes.
And
yes.
so look at how much of my life was locked up. And it doesn't mean that I wasn't still moving and doing things, but do you imagine?
But not in a way that you want to and that you should, right?
And I didn't realize how much mental space
was
taken up into my life until now, because my dad passed in 2008 and my mom passed last year. So for this past year was the first year that I didn't have to be concerned with what the doctors are saying, what medications are changing, what support systems need to be put in place. I did not realize how much of my life I had allowed to consume me of thinking about what needs to be done next. And so now it's like, wow, I'm in this place where I'm learning to connect again with the other aspects of me, the parts that long to thrive in a way that I've never thrived before, the parts that's going to go back to trusting my intuition in a whole new way, the parts that just want to just lean into my freedom and to live boldly and love courageously and just really step into the beauty of living in a way that's joyous and yummy and juicy and all that other stuff.
I love it. I'm so with you on that. And it's coming from, and that feeling is coming from trusting myself. Like just trusting myself. I don't care what other people are going to think about this decision, or I may not have all the answers today, but something in my heart, in my spirit is telling me this is right. And I'm going backwards too, just to compare, is when I made choices going against what I felt. And the repercussions of that, they've always been like bad choices. And now I'm like, a big red light goes off and I'm like, well, that's why, because you were going against yourself, you know. And that's what happens when we make decisions that are not aligned with our spirit, right? We end up making not so great choices for ourselves. So now I'm all about, if something feels right and it feels organic and it feels free, I am floating with it. I am so open to it. And that's life. Life opens up too. Opportunities come. Melanie calls me and says, sister, how can I help you? How can I assist you today? I mean, that is powerful. You don't, I mean, it might be just, you know, a gesture that you do out of, because you're a kind person. But to me, to someone else, that's like, that's everything to hear, you know, and it's just confirmation.
Yeah, like even all of that is trusting intuition.
Yes.
And so, like I said, I've always done it to a certain degree, but I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't as connected to it anymore as I used to be. And I
Mm-hmm.
want that girl back. I miss
Yeah, I miss her. Exactly. I miss her.
her. And now she's grown up some more and she's matured a little bit
Yeah, she's
more,
awesome. She's
more
becoming more awesome. Yeah.
yeah, but even those things, so um, yes, it may be something that I do naturally,
Mm-hmm.
from the goodness of my heart, but even those phone calls are all led by intuition.
It
Like
is.
the person I call and reach out to is because that's whose name was dropped in my spirit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not like I just go through my Rolodex and say, okay, well, I'm gonna
Cold call.
try. It's not that way.
I
It's
know.
really learning to trust that. And
Yeah.
whenever I do, I actually get a yes.
Yeah. You do get a yes because everything's aligned.
Absolutely.
Everything's aligned. And that's what it's about. And it's a new day. And I'm just like, I feel so light just having that revelation now.
Mm-hmm.
It's power, right? It's just
It,
taking power back.
it is.
Yeah, it really is.
If it's been 3 words, I'm gonna go first, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 words that's really been calling me this year for me to really pay attention to. One is trust. Um, the other one is pause, and the
Mm,
other one is alignment. And so it's
alignment.
interesting that you keep using it because it's for me, I've been just called to just like pause for a moment,
Mm-hmm.
like trust the process and get centered and align myself with what really connects and feel good to my soul. And those words have just been showing up for me in so many different
Mm-hmm.
aspects of my life over this past year when I'm talking about like reclaiming and rediscovering who I am. And it is, I'm just surrendering to it.
Yeah. And I would say surrender is a huge thing for me. And I'll explain why. Because I've always been like this control kind of freak kind of person. You know, things have to, yeah, I have to control everything. And, you know, everything has to be planned. And it's the opposite. Like what I'm learning is that the more I surrender and let go, the more my life has been flooded with blessings because I'm trusting everything now. You know, I'm trusting myself, and in turn, I'm attracting what is for me. There's no doubt. Like I'm just, universe, you take over. Let me know how we can meet each other and we're going to make this thing happen. That's surrendering. You know, just surrender, love. Just, I've been filling myself up with love for so long because I have been giving it away for so long, like to a point where it's like, okay, where is it now? I have nothing left. But just replenishing it and bringing it back to me. And what's happening now is that I'm attracting the right kind of love. Like that kind of love when I'm like, wait a minute, this is what I've been waiting for this whole time. Where has it been? Well, it hasn't been here, and that's why it hasn't showed up. So it's like that same kind of love that I've been giving myself has been, it showed up for me, and it's just an incredible feeling. And trusting myself, you know, just really, really, and that comes from knowing who I am. You cannot, it's kind of hard to trust yourself when you don't know who that person is. You know what I mean? So you really have, and I've taken the time to do that inner work and really understand who I am, why I do certain things and things that I want to change and things like that. So just being really accepting and also kind and gentle with myself too, just like I would be kind and gentle to my friends. You know, I noticed that I wasn't always kind with myself, like even the words that I would use and just the things that I was doing, I was not being kind. So just being gentle with me. So I know I said more than 3, but it's just been such an incredible year. It has been just, and it's only what, August now. It's just been like, this year has really blown me away. I can't even put it into words. So
That's how I feel too. And the thing is, it feels like I'm just getting started.
yeah, it does. It feels like life is definitely just starting. It's like a reset button that we decided to press somewhere. Hey, reset, this is not working. Let's try something new.
Mm-hmm.
Just let's try something new.
Yeah. It's I'm gonna go back to that different thing again.
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever experienced this? So like I said, I'm a woo girl. I've learned to embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I'm so excited because again, I believe in serendipity and
Yep.
synchronized and everything means something to me. I don't
Yeah.
care how small it means something is representing something and I want to lean in.
Well, for the most part, it is.
Yeah, and I want to lean into it
Mm-hmm.
fully detached from what the outcome is going to be. And so sometimes I get so excited. I
You
don't even
want to share it.
want to share it.
Yeah, I
And
get that.
somebody and they're like, okay,
Yeah. You just, what I've learned is that you have to know who to share it with. Like, you can't just be running around here just sharing this stuff, you know. It has to make sense, and that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, is that you do get excited. You know, you find things that have worked and have helped you, and you want to go and help someone else. I mean, that's how I am. I found this thing and it's just incredible and it's really helped me. I want to share it with you. Let me see how it can help you. But what I've learned is that we're all on our journeys. You know, it's different journeys. We're all coming to things at our own pace and time. And so if I'm going to try to translate to you this revelation of mine and you're not there yet to receive it, you're going to repel it and you're not going to receive it. So you have to know who is ready to receive that. And that's when you know your energy isn't being wasted and you're just left disappointed, like, oh, you know, I tried this but they didn't take it. And yeah,
that's when the pause comes in.
I love your pause. Like, that conference was everything. I'm like, wait a minute, that's all I had to do? Like, literally? Okay, I'm not answering this right this second. Let me give it a pause first. You know, it's amazing when we do take a pause.
Yeah, that pause can save your life. And
Yeah.
so learning to take an intentional pause has
Yes.
been really good for my soul.
Yep.
Right? And
Yep.
yeah.
That was, yeah. I remember that day, and it's very helpful. Just, it's mindfulness, you know, just being really mindful. So that helps.
So, you know, apparently we're two talkers, and apparently we're both
Told you.
real, we're real
The most extroverted, introverted, and I'm sticking to it.
It's like you be the extroverted introvert you are, and fully embrace that. I embrace your difference.
Thank you. I'm different, and I love it.
Different. You love it. I embrace it, and you won't lose my love because of it.
Yes, and you won't lose mine either. It's all good. Just be you. That's what I want. Just show up as who you are.
Absolutely.
You know? Just
Absolutely.
show up. So.
Fully, completely, and unapologetically.
Yeah.
So, okay, so for all you who are listening, whoever you are out there in internet land,
we gave you a lot. We gave you a lot.
Our conversation.
Yeah.
So now you kind of know what I talk to my friends about on the phone. and things like that, where you can go on and on and on for hours because it goes like this, where you can
Yes.
just be who you are and be fully embraced and accepted for just that.
And let us know what you think, comments or whatever you, or if you want to hear more. If you want to hear more, we will give you more.
We'll give you more. And if it's a specific topic you want us
Yeah, that's right.
to do that.
Hmm.
Or what are you curious about? What do you want to know about me? What do you want to know about Lucy? Right?
It's a
Let
good
us
one.
drop us a note. We'll be happy to respond.
We will,
I think.
definitely.
I think. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, depending on what it is. No, I'm kidding. We'll say anything, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So, and you are,
Lucy Coutinho,
and I'm Melanie Foote-Davis, and we're signing off, wishing you love and blessings today and every day.
always.
Peace out.
Peace.